keep striving for this religion that we preach. Keep pushing for nothing's ever out of reach. Because the time we keep on driving, it's all that much we go. The time we keep on fighting, and these colors I wear will be sold through the skins of my soul.
And welcome to another edition of the Luton Town International Podcast. I'm joined by the person in a Man City shirt with a Man United sponsor. And we're actually recording after not a loss and some signings. This is unusual.
This is very unusual, Nick. There's something going on. Maybe it's the turning point we've all been waiting for.
We've been waiting for that all bloody season, so we'll hope. We shall see.
Yeah. Some decent signings coming through the door, and then obviously last Saturday's result as well. And then obviously Alfie's comments. So a bit to get into.
Okay. Right. We'll start briefly with the game because apparently we discuss games occasionally. We try not to at the moment because they're fucking shit. But first half was decent. Actually, we looked probably the better side. Second half, they brought on that winger who nobody could actually stop whatsoever. And a big guy who was under the cosh, but the centre backs defended as well. Centre backs especially defended well. The full backs a bit dodgy.
Yeah. So first half, I thought we were pretty decent. We weren't great. We weren't as good as we know we can be, but at the same point, we weren't as bad as we've seen at points this season. Second half was just an absolute fucking annihilation. Wednesday, it just seemed like I can barely remember getting out of half. In the second half, it was just one attack after another. And, we knew at some point the dam was going to break and they were going to score, but then it was the case of how many are they going to score after that. And the fact that we kept it to just a one and kept it to get a point.
And that one was a penalty as well.
And that one was a penalty, which it was a Stonewall penalty.
It was a penalty, and I think it's the comment a few people have made, and I think it's Bloomfield's made the comment as well. It's maybe one of the players should have taken one for the team at some point in the build-up because you weren't going to stop. You won't be able to tackle him. It's thinking right, so you commit the cynical foul, you bring him down outside the box.
Yeah. I mean, they let him go too far, and by the time they actually got to tackle him, it was far too late. But I mean, the fact that we kept it to one and that we didn't completely crumble, I think earlier on in the season, maybe even a couple of weeks ago, that would have been completely different, and Wednesday would have ran out of that game probably comfortable winners.
But they weren't, and we got a point. Just in the first half as well, there was an unusual aspect there. It was a player shooting from outside the box. Yeah,
totally new. Something we may want to do more oftenly when you have people who can strike the ball as well as Alfie.
Especially as we're not getting really much chance of the strikers. It's the striker. It's 4-2-3-1 formation or whatever you call it. So,
yeah, I mean, it does leave the striker kind of isolated up there. I'm glad he's playing Alfie further forward because I know there's been a couple of calls for him to go back to left back, and then Amari to go into the centre. But I mean, if I'm being totally honest with you, we need Doughty further forward in the team because he's our only form of creativity.
I don't know. I think we're quite well stocked for wingers now.
Yeah, we've got one or two, but here's the thing: like with Bowler, like he even said it in his interview. I think I'm going to frustrate people. I'm going to want to beat someone and then come back and beat them again. I'm like, we don't need that. We need you to beat the man and get the ball into the fucking box.
That's what I mean. Bowler, if you're saying that, he did get back and defend as well.
Yeah, and that's obviously going to be an aspect that we're going to need from those two wide players is to get back and help out a little bit. But if you beat a man, don't go back and beat him again. Just get the ball into the box. We're having a rough enough time scoring as it is.
I mean, with the new formation, obviously, one of the players who came in was Asgard. It's still sounds like he should be in some sort of mythology type thing.
Marvel movie.
I don't know, something like that. But it was he seemed to have a sort of a nice vision, a nice touch, and it's we've signed a lot of League One players, so hopefully that's not planning for next year. It's but he does seem to have actually sort of based on one game, which is tricky. He seems to be up to the level.
Yeah, I mean he's still young, he's still learning the trade, so there's going to be ups and downs. Like he's going to have good games, he's going to have bad games.
And he's half Norwegian, half
I,
Scout, so you do have to make allowances.
Poor fucker. He did.
He could be half Irish, half American.
He didn't get any look there whatsoever, did he? There's a lot of them, Nick. Yeah, he looked decent in parts. I think when we went underneath the caution in the second half, obviously he disappeared a little bit out of the game, but he seems to be a player that has confidence in his own abilities, and that's obviously something we can use going forward.
And it's obviously, he's got a nice touch there. Now, the main issue I think we still have, and this will continue there with the one up front, is trying to create chances, because Carlton or Eli or whatever, or the new Norwegian.
Lassie?
Yeah. It's a dog, isn't it?
Who knows? Who cares?
But yeah, I mean, they can battle away, but you do need some support, because otherwise it's easier unless you're getting those quality crosses in and you've got players breaking from deep. Now, if you're playing the two holding midfielders, so Fanny and Nakamba, Fanny maybe be able to get in the box, and Nakamba, well, we see what happens when he gets anywhere apart from penalty spot.
Yeah. I see where you get, like, Asgard's going to have to chip in with quite a bit of assists, goals, and whatnot. I know Bloomfield talked about Fanny in his best position being behind the play, with the play in front of him. I'm not going to disagree with that. He sees more of him than we do. I don't know about him and Nakamba. I think more than likely it will be him and Clark.
We are a little bit light. I mean, in terms of the transfer window, we've stopped ourselves wearing wingers. Ali will mention as well, because when he came on, he wasn't afraid to have a crack, and it's sort of, he didn't seem lacking confidence, which is a decent sign. I think Exeter fans tend to think 1.5 million, thank you very much. But we've hopefully seen something in that one. It's one we can develop as well. So we've signed a few there, but I mean, it's left us a little bit light. Centre midfield would be the one there. So, right, Paddy, nobody really. Paddy's hardly played, but for what Paddy is and what Paddy does for the club and everything else and what Paddy represents, I don't think anyone seems to go, never mind that fat twat.
So, you're right, it does leave us light in the midfield, especially with the Pelly loan out. He needed to leave, though. He needed to get out. He needed to go somewhere else. I'm not going to.
He deserves better than Steve bloody Evans, though.
Yeah. He needed to get out. He needed to go somewhere else. As you kind of said in one of your tweets, like, hopefully it's just till the summer and he's back in the summer. I don't necessarily know about that. But here's the thing: we're light because of poor recruitment, right? Realistically, that's why we're light. It's because Batiste can't get fit.
But Batiste can't get fit. I think Walsh shows he can be a great player if he can stay on the pitch. Not a great player, a good player if he can stay on the pitch. Keeping him on the pitch is an issue because he can't tackle. He wants to, but he can't. Yeah,
and like right now, like if you're thinking Asgard as your point, as your the player in the three up front.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about two players in the center. Who have you got? You've got Nakamba, who I don't know if his legs are still there. He can definitely still do a job. You got Fanny, who's coming back from injury. You've got Clark, who I don't like in that role. And you've got Walsh, who I don't like in that role.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the area of the pitch for me that is worrying.
I think the other area I'm worried about would be fullback.
I'm not as worried. Because right now, the way you look at it, for the right-hand side, you've got Walters and you've got Hashioka, who I think people have been extremely harsh on. I don't think... I'm not the biggest fan of Walters. I see that there's definitely a lot of improvement that's needed there, but he's good. He's a decent right back at this level. Same with Hashioka. He's a decent right back at this level. And then on the other side, you've got options. You've got Bell, you've got Johnson, you've got Doughty.
Yeah.
You've got people who can play that position. I don't necessarily think fullback was as much of a need as centre midfield was.
I tend to think on the right back team though, you've got Hashi, I mean, when he came on, he looked like somebody who won a competition to be a footballer. I think he managed to kick the ball off his own leg out for a corner at one point. Yeah, it can happen, but it shouldn't do there. I mean, going back to the game as whichever one it was, sort of 0-0, it's sort of really, really shit. But they did target him. He stood up well for that, but I think that he doesn't offer as much going forward. Walters is better going forward, but I think he gets bullied. But he gets bullied as well.
Yeah, I can see both down. But then, if you're realistically talking, okay, so you don't want to play either of them too. You spoke about it enough on last year's podcast when Jaws came in. Doughty can play right back if you need him to. I don't like him there, but if you wanted to go Doughty, McGuinness, Anderson, and Bell, you could.
And the other one, which is maybe potentially slightly strange, was loaning at Holmes. I mean, Holmes, not a great sense back, but he is committed. But that does leave us a bit light because we've got McGuinness, and then we've got an injury-prone player, an injury-prone player, and an injury-prone player.
Yeah, I mean,
and probably not a player.
I mean, I was a bit surprised by the Kai Naismith re-signing. But when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense of bringing in someone who knows the club and who's not afraid to communicate. As well. He's a leader. He's not afraid to communicate, especially with other players not being available. But yeah, I mean, Anderson's been injury prone. He's done well in the games he's played in so far this season. But he is injury prone. Burke is injury prone. I mean, yeah, probably loaning out. But the thing with that is as well, Holmes has played so many games with us this season that you kind of look at it and go, we want him to continue developing. Are we really going to get that by sitting him on the bench and hoping for an injury? Because realistically, you're not hoping for injuries.
It's just been prepared in case. Now, obviously, I think you're always going to get 2 out of the 3 would go. Corey, no brainer really, because I said he's been brought on as a midfielder. He's then behind some Ragi about so third or fourth striker behind. It's come on. He's not going to get much game time. He's gone to a club high up the league, and fair play. Hope he does well. I never had an issue with him. He actually had quite a decent goals per minute ratio, but just didn't really fit our style of play coming in, and it sort of wasn't the best option we had. So that's 1 out.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to get 2 more out. Moses, I'm surprised he's still at the club.
I'm shocked. I'm absolutely fucking shocked that he's still there. Like, I've gone on record this season, Nick, saying I don't think he's been good at all. Like, there's been glimpses, like tiny little glimpses of him still being a decent player, but they've been very, very slight. They've been very, very small glimpses. I've been extremely disappointed in Moses, and I'm extremely surprised that he's still at the club. I would have thought he would have been gone before Pelly, considering how light we are in the middle.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't get it. He's not going to play. Like, I don't think he's going to play. Like, if he does play, I think it's going to be limited minutes. I know we've got 4 games in 16 days or something like that, 15 days, coming up 19 days. But realistically, you've got Bowler, Brown, Doughty, Ali, Asgard, all in positions that you can play in.
Asgard will be more central, but then you've got sort of, I know he's injured at the moment, you've got Chong, you've got Nelson also wide. Yeah.
I just don't see how he gets into that team between now and the end of the season, unless we have a horrendous injury problem, which we don't want to go through again.
No. I mean, let's face it, we're in the shit as it is. We do not need a load of injuries.
Yeah. I was a little bit surprised with the Cauley loan, just because, again, with how light we are in midfield, and especially then when Pelly.
I know you're banging your call for midfield thing, but I mean,
no, I'm not talking about midfield. I'm talking about the Asgard role of just behind the striker. I think he could play that really well.
He could play that, but we also have strikers who can come in there. So we've got obviously Morris up there. You've got Eli. You've got
which one of them are you dropping though? Are you dropping deep though? Which one are you dropping to the Asgard position if, let's say, Asgard picks up something and you can't play him? Who you dropping back there? Morris, Eli?
I think you drop Morris back there ahead of Eli. You'd have Eli in the line because Morris then sort of drops a bit deeper. You could have Clark in there. You could have Chong in there.
I don't want Chong in that position. I would put
Chong on the pitch.
I would put you in that position before I put Chong in that position. I don't mind Chong out wide. Either side, I'd be totally fine with. But I don't want them that. No, sorry.
Nelson, you can put there in a push. It's we do have options who can play there.
Yeah, but I'm like again inexperienced options. Like Colley's an experienced head. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just out here to wind up all the Colley haters who wanted him gone from like the beginning of the season. I think he should be still at the club.
But I think it's a case of if there's he would have been an obvious one to leave if you need to trim the squad size because there is cover up front.
Yeah, and especially with the Norwegian guy coming in as well, it made sense for a striker to go out. I'm surprised it wasn't Eli, because if you're bringing in a striker and paying, and if you're Luton paying what was it, 3-point-something million?
That's 3 million. I think it's about 2.8 after conversion. So.
Yeah, chances are he's starting, right?
No.
2.8 million for Luton Town. I'm not talking about any other team. I'm talking about Luton Town. If you're paying 2.8 million for a player, chances are he's starting.
Well, we spent 5 million on Brown. Yes, it's not Brown. Jones, who we didn't mention. That's another one on the wide position who could possibly play behind them as well.
Yeah, I totally forgot about him.
You're starting one up front, so I think it's he's got to get used to the pace of the game over here. He's not match fit because it's close season in Norway as well, so he needs to get up to speed on that as well. So I think he's a bench player to start with.
And who you're bringing on first? If you need a striker, you're bringing on Eli or you're bringing on him? Because right now Morris seems to be the go-to guy to play that starting position up top.
Yeah,
this. I'm just getting to why I'm surprised that Eli stayed. Why Eli was still, because especially when you bring in another striker, like you're thinking with Colley gone, okay, well Colley's gone. Eli was ahead of him anyway, but
yeah,
more minutes. But now with another striker coming in, and like I'm surprised that Eli wasn't one of the players loaned out.
Eli's a good player, not in good form. I mean, I think he scored 10 goals in the Premier League last season. He was injured for some of it as well, including a hat trick. And he's going through a bad run of form, but people do forget there is a decent player.
Yeah, there is a really decent player there.
But you wouldn't loan him out. I mean, if you loan him out, do you loan him out to another club in the Championship, a rival? If you got a decent bid, like if you got a 7 million bid for him upwards, then yeah, you might have considered selling him. That's a different matter.
Yeah, I think if you're loaning them out, realistically, you're loaning them out to a Championships club. I don't think a Premier League club will be taking a gamble like that mid-season. I mean, I'm an Eli fan. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a really decent player. To the point where, if I'm being totally honest, I'd probably have him in the starting 11 above Morris. But I understand what Morris gives to the team in that system and that formation that Eli doesn't.
I think Eli as well. Eli is he's lacking in confidence. I mean, I think if you've got a fully fit, confident Eli who's going to run at players and terrorize them and be all over them and harass them, that's a different Eli.
Yeah, but I mean, name a player in the Luton team right now that has confidence. Yeah, exactly. No one right now is playing with.
Asgard.
Actually, I would say the only player in the Luton team that has confidence right now is Alfie, considering his comment after the game of, we're not going down. We're too good to go down. Alfie, don't say shit like that, will you not, please? You're making me very nervous.
Yeah, I think Brian Clough once said Forest were too good to go down.
And then they went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that comment and I even messaged you. I'm like, I hope that doesn't come back to bite us in the ass. I really do.
Hey, look, that's a player saying it's not as bad as was it Boyer at Charleston when he goes, we're playing for one relegation place because Barnes and Luton are gone.
Yeah.
That one really came back to bite me.
Yeah, that one really came back to bite me, yes. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it just has a way of just, oh, really? Just coming back and biting in the ass. And I'm just like, I just wish he hadn't said anything. Now, saying that, he may single-handedly keep us in this division if he keeps scoring goals like he scored on Saturday, and if he keeps creating like we know he can create, he may single-handedly keep us in this division.
Well, he kind of needs, not single-handedly, he needs some kind of on the end of it as well, but it was...
Put you on the end of it. When Doughty's crosses are good, Doughty's crosses are really good. Like, really, really good.
Can I point out, I've never been a striker. I've always been a goalkeeper or defender. And on that one, I was more of the kind of, let me try and sort of, if I can't stop them one way, I'll stop them another way. The thing is, now I'm actually getting old. I can't even sort of try and sort of hit some of the late tackle. The tackle's so late, British Rail announce it, and the person's behind, 5 yards behind, going, "What are you doing?"
But here, at the end of the day, as a defender, you would have gone up for corners, right? And that's all we really need you for. Just stick that big bald head onto something. You don't have any hair to get in your eyes or anything. You're perfect.
Now you're just being baldest.
I don't have much myself, Nick. But
so what you're saying is basically, because I know you're wearing the shirt there, but you're saying that's Haaland's problem. His hair's getting in the way. Yeah,
he needs to get rid of the ponytail. No.
Well, that generally just yes anyway, but
yeah, he should show up with all that hair. But no, just to clarify, this is a Dublin GAA shirt for anyone that thinks I'm wearing another team's jerseys.
It's a Man City colour with a Man United sponsor.
Nick just likes the fact that it has. Yeah. Nick just likes the fact that it's got City's colours and United's logo, and that's what he's just clinging on to for dear life.
And you are a closet Man United fan.
Yes, that's true. Can we talk about something not Luton related, but Luton related? Yeah. Not Luton related, but Luton related, and the fact that Alex Lacey is going to play in my home country.
He was going to go and play in America, but then he heard you were there and actually think, no, fuck it.
He wasn't coming anywhere near California. I can guarantee he wasn't coming anywhere near California.
No, he'd been warned. His security said not a fucking chance.
I don't think he has security. I don't think he's that rich. But he's gone to play for Bows in Ireland, and I was debating buying a Bows shirt. I'm not a Bows fan. Like if I was to go watch a team in Ireland, it would probably be Shamrock Rovers because their ground is literally 5 minutes from my house. But I wanted to buy a Bows jersey because they did a collaboration with Tin Lizzy and had the Black Rose jersey. I'm like, no, can't do that.
Lizzy, like Nickel Lizzy.
Tin Lizzy, yeah, you know who Tin Lizzy are. You're not that bad with your music taste.
I know Tin Lizzy. Tin Lizzy, I've never heard of. Is that sort of iron or anything else?
No, Tin Lizzy. That's how you pronounce it. Big thick Dublin accent. So now I have a reason. Now I have a reason to get the jersey because I can get Lacey on the back of it. And then I found out the other day that they also have a jersey in conjunction with Fontaine's DC. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Bows want to take my money so bad.
Right. I'd like to point out, if anyone from Irish immigration is watching this, do not let this man in.
Don't let him back into the country.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's going to get kicked out because he's an immigrant anyway, so it's Trump will be after him. But
for the safety of Alex Lacey,
yeah, or at least get him security. Don't care if you're going to afford it or not. Just...
I wonder how he's going to find Dublin because Dublin's changed.
With a map,
Dublin's changed.
Yes. Well, he might even land there.
Dublin's changed a lot since I was growing up. It's just it's so multicultural now. It's a great place to be, absolutely great place to be. But I'm just wondering how he'll find it as an English lad. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna start watching Bows games. Can't be any worse than watching Luton games.
Englishman in Dublin. Well, I've probably spent more time in Dublin than you have in the last 10 years.
That's true. That's true. That's why you have no hair.
I had no hair when we got married.
Yeah.
After we got married.
After you got married. But yeah, back to Luton related things. We don't have a game this week.
No. Which, for a bizarre reason, Plymouth were in the fourth round. I think Plymouth, of all the sides to actually get through to the fourth round, and there was
right. It's weird. It's just fair play to them. I mean, it means our games count, and then we start on Wednesday against Sunderland for. Is it 4 games in 19 days?
Well, I don't know.
I think I remember reading something about it. It's 4 games in a crazy amount of time. But that's I
don't look forward to games at the moment.
No, neither do I. It's really going to test us as well because he's going to have to use the squad. So now we're really going to see how thin the squad is. See, thin, not thin. Tin.
You can do it. Go. Say ta.
Ta. No H. Tin.
No.
Tin.
Okay.
Tin.
The.
I think this is the end of the podcast, if I'm being totally honest. We're only 25 minutes in, but we're finding it very hard to talk about things. And
we've just resorted basic news.
You're just making fun of my accent, which I get enough of over here as it is.
Look, if you move back to Dublin, they make fun of your accent.
They actually do. That is a fair enough point. Mostly the people who are supposed to be my friends would make fun of it. But I'm just looking this up real quick. We have Sunderland Wednesday, Sheffield United Saturday, Plymouth Wednesday, and Watford Sunday. Watford game is a Sunday game?
Yeah, no, it's police advice Sunday lunchtime.
4 a.m., 12 o'clock. Okay. Yeah. So realistically, 3 points out of 9 out of 12.
Right. Sunderland away, we've got fuck all chance. Sheffield United at home. We're okay at home, or had been until Bloomfield took over, but I'm not blaming for that one. But we were picking up stuff there, so that's a possibility. We've had 2 weeks to work with the new players and everything else. Plymouth, obviously, that's a kind of should win. Scum, draw would be fine. Just don't fucking lose to those fucking cunts.
Yeah, I see a defeat against Sunderland, a defeat against Sheffield United. We have to beat Plymouth. There's no other option. Absolutely have to beat Plymouth. And then I unfortunately see the Scum beating us, which I will not be looking forward to.
Don't have to fucking say it.
I'm not looking forward to it at all.
I'm going to put your notice now. If they beat us,
you're not recording.
I'm not recording for at least 2 weeks after. And the proviso, we do not mention that fucking game.
Yeah, I don't think I want to record after that either if we lose. But yeah, it's like give me your honest opinion, Nick. At the beginning of the season, did you think it would be this long? Did you think it would be this you said it, like you don't enjoy watching games, but yeah, we still do for obvious reasons. Like, did you expect it to be like this?
I expect us to be pushing promotion and pushing for autos, possibly not fucking in a relegation battle.
And because the reason I asked is obviously I've said on here before. Like, I thought mid-table. I thought somewhere between 6 and 12. I didn't think we'd make the playoffs. I thought somewhere between 6 and 12, with maybe an outside chance of making the playoffs.
Well, 6 would have made the playoffs, to be fair.
Oh no, sorry, 7 to 12. Okay. With an outside chance of making the playoffs. This, like, if I had hair, I think it'd be grey. You know, if I had more hair, I think it'd be grey.
It is grey.
Yeah, I know it's starting. That's why I keep it. That's why I'm bald. Why are you bald?
Because I'm married.
And that's how you know Nick's wife doesn't listen to the podcast. What's her name? Margaret? We need to let her know. We need to find her. But yeah, I mean, even I didn't think in my wildest dreams that it would be this bad. Like, it's been fucking horrible, dude.
It's not been great, but the thing is, we're Lincoln fans. We've been up, we've been down, we've had good seasons, we had shit seasons. You take it as it is. You don't change your team.
No.
And I'm not going to sit here and start being one of the people, right, let's see you can shout the fucking loudest, moan the loudest. And it's, I mean, some people, the ridiculous thing, it's, some people come saying, right, the board are tight, they won't spend any money. We spent 50 million quid on players. We put in 7 million quid for League One strikers. And people go, oh, that's too much. Make your minds up. Same people.
Here's 7 million is a bit much for a guy who's played only in League One and has only proven himself in League One. So I understand. To me, it's too much. But you can't then turn around and say the board aren't backing. Or the board aren't spending money. You can't turn around and say that. You know, I think I even turn around to you. So 7 million for an untried, untested player is a lot of money. You know, I get he scored a good few goals in League One this year, but I mean, come on.
He was non-league 18 months ago. I mean, I think
Yeah,
he's obviously got the potential to be a very, very good player.
yeah, yeah.
Apparently, I've actually not watched him at all because
Yeah.
I don't watch Wigan games.
Who would do that themselves, apart from Wickham fans, obviously. Although I would have to say, where they are in the league, probably watching Wickham right now is probably more entertaining than watching Luton. Maybe we should get
goes to dentist with no anaesthetic is probably having 4 teeth extracted is probably more pleasurable than watching Luton right now.
It's not.
I don't know. I've not tried it. So.
It's not. Maybe we should do that. Maybe this weekend we watch Wickham.
I was about to say, if you're saying maybe this weekend she goes to the dentist with no anaesthetic,
No.
no.
No, I'm not saying that. But maybe this weekend I'll watch Wickham's game and just see is it more entertaining than watching Luton play.
Tell you what, this weekend I'm going to be thinking, okay, there's no football, there's absolutely nothing to ruin my weekend, so therefore I'm definitely not watching Wickham.
I'm trying to think of what can ruin my weekend this weekend. Now that you've mentioned it, there has to be something. There has to be something.
Oh, there's plenty of things. I mean, you've got a lunatic who decides he wants to send the Gaza Strip into a holiday resort.
I know where I'm living. I mean, I don't mean that. I just try to tune that out. You keep reminding me, though, which is not fun.
Hey, you can move.
There's got to be something. There's got to be something that can possibly ruin my weekend this weekend. Obviously, work, but I'm trying to think of sports related.
Is it Six Nations this weekend?
Yeah, but we've already beaten England, so I don't give a fuck.
Fair enough.
We have Scotland. I don't care if we lose to Scotland. They need something to cheer about. Yeah, I mean we beat. Actually, can we talk about that? England losing to Ireland in the Six Nations. Do you want to talk about that? No,
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it. It was a bit. No. It was a bit nervy, if I'm being totally honest, Nick. Because
I saw it winning at half time,
really well,
lost at full time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little bit worried. And then the second half became alive. The balls are what?
Balls the wrong shape.
Wrong shape. I know what can ruin my weekend this weekend. Kansas City win the Super Bowl. That's it. That's what I single of.
Okay, if any of our 3 listeners or actual watchers are got a clue what he's on about, feel free.
Super Bowl, buddy. Get your chips in. Your chips and dip.
Oh, sorry, that's the wrong size balls, but with advert breaks, isn't it?
It's the only reason why I have to work this weekend. This was my scheduled weekend off, and I have to work because.
But you have to work in retail because the Super Bowl's on.
Explain. Yeah, I know. Fucking stupid, isn't it?
Come on.
Yeah, it's where I work and the department I work in. It's apparently a big weekend for us, so it's all hands on deck.
What do you sell that makes the fucking Super Bowl such a big weekend?
All the food. Yeah, have you never heard of a Super Bowl party, Nick? I think we need to end this podcast just so I can teach you about Super Bowl parties.
I did, because everyone's thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? We're definitely out of source here, so never mind.
No game this weekend, which means no podcast next week, which we weren't going to record anyway. So hopefully we're talking after some good results against Sunderland and Sheffield Wednesday.
So if you are still watching, thank you. Who are you?
Thank you. Thank you.